something, I was looking in my notes, and I can't believe it's been 2 years. It was April of 2022, the last time that we
shut up, turn around.
did that. Did anybody, I know Gus and Marilyn, did anybody do the workshop in 2022 with me? Thank you. I think you and I was, and did Sharon, I don't think they're, but anyway, it's basically the same PowerPoint presentation, but hopefully there'll be some new ideas, tips, and techniques. So what I hope to do today, and what I hope you get out of it, is just some new, fresh information on things that you need to be aware of every single day of your life in your movement, and some techniques, and I won't call them exercises because they're not, and yet they are, but without attending any classes, some things you can do every day to help you improve your balance. We're going to talk a little bit around the home because that's where most of the falls occur, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of physiology stuff, and then we'll end with actually standing up and practicing some strategies that could come on in, that could help you with working on improving your balance, and then awareness and being current and in the moment. And we'll talk a little bit about that. First question, who has fallen in the last year? Raise your hand. That is very, what's the word? Very predictable that might be the case. I do want to tell you too, I do have a handout. The printer in the church is being worked on as we speak. So I have a few, but I don't have enough for everybody. It's the PowerPoint handout. And if you don't get one today, I'll have copies here at church, or I will email you the PowerPoint so that you have it, okay? Let me give you just a little bit of information about me, because I know, you want to know what I've been up to my whole life. That makes me get to this point that we're here. I've been a certified fitness professional for 40 years. We were even teaching fitness before there was certification, so I'm actually a gold certified, which means that the first year they ever certified people, we did it without books and workshops or anything. We just went in and took the test and made it. So of those 40 years, 12 years, which were the most important ones, I think, for where I am today. For 12 years, I worked in downtown Atlanta with a nonprofit group that was developed to work with senior citizens when I wasn't one, and develop safe protocol for exercise and whatnot through Emory University. So it was a group of downtown churches. It was 12 different churches. And I went and worked with the older adults at that time on everything from just exercise to balance to memory, all that. And that was 12 very, very informative years. That's also where I learned about Tai Chi and Qigong and the Alexander technique. Is anybody familiar with Alexander technique or have heard it? So I might touch on that just a little bit. But that's kind of my background in, so 12 of those 40 years I worked with seniors. And in one of those years I was actually pregnant, and I felt like a senior. I could relate to them quite a bit during that time, so that was kind of fun. But so I've done water aerobics, step aerobics, Tai Chi, of course Pilates, line dancing, yoga, yeah, probably a little bit of everything through the years. And in my younger years, I was like, oh, I got to be doing this. If I'm not doing this, I'm not exercising. I don't want this yoga, Tai Chi stuff. And as I got older, it became very clear to me I did need those for a lot of reasons: balance, stress reduction, functional strength training. So that's kind of what I had been doing for many years when I was still working with Parks and Rec. Is I was doing a lot of Tai Chi and Pilates, and led workshops throughout the state of Georgia with the State Office on Aging going to senior centers all over the state and training them to teach fitness to their older adults. So, and now that I guess I'm in that category, it just seems a great ministry to reach out to my friends and neighbors and church family and offer them a little bit of my knowledge. It's it's things that I've learned through having experienced myself and having worked with folks. In this age, and every age really, I mean, balance is something, last night I was actually talking to two young Harris College basketball players about the importance of balance and finding their center, and that was exciting knowing that it's really beneficial to anybody. I'm going to go forward to a first, I'm going to go to the 10th slide. The one that's kind of scary, and it's about falls and the statistics of falls in older adults. 1 in 4 Americans fall every year over the age of 65. So when y'all raised your hand a minute ago, if we probably took a statistic, it was probably 1 in 4 of y'all had fallen. Every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in the emergency room for a fall, and every 19 minutes, one dies from a fall. And falls are one of those things that are not just the acute injury that you have right then when you fall and you hit your head, or your hip breaks or that, but it's there's another statistic, and I believe it's about 65% of people that fall die within that year. Not necessarily from the injuries of the fall, but the accumulation of the sedentary lifestyle, becoming more sedentary and complications, and then you become, not independent anymore and have to go to a nursing home and then So it is a serious thing, and they're the leading cause of fatal injury in older adults, and common cause non-fatal trauma-related hospital admissions. So we got to do everything we can to try not to fall. And in February, we're going to do a little workshop. It'll be the first time I've done this one here, but it's about ups and downs, telling you how to get up and down, or if you did fall, what you need to be aware of. So hopefully maybe y'all might enjoy attending that when we get around to that. Also, a couple of other statistics, which is kind of interesting. In the U.S., this was from 2015, so that makes it almost 10 years old. The U.S. population of older adults was projected to double by 2060, from 48 million to 98 million. That's all of us, the baby boomers, right? And it's also due in part to an increase in life expectancy. Life expectancy was 68 in 1950, and it jumped up to 78.7 in 2018. The gender gap is about 5 years. Male's life expectancy 76.2 and female 81.2, and that was 2018. So I'd like to think that we've gotten a few more years as medical technology and stuff has advanced. So we should be living just a little bit longer than that. However, I did, and I can't remember the statistics, but COVID has had an effect on life expectancy. So it may not have gone, it may have gone down just a little bit, unfortunately. So let me take you, so the very first slide is, these people are sitting in their living room with bubble wrap on. So I guess if you wrap yourself in bubble wrap and sit in your living room, you're gonna stay pretty safe from falling. Except if you do that a long time, then you're not gonna be able to get up and move, and then you're gonna fall. So staying sedentary and wrapping yourself in bubble wrap is not the way to guard against falling. We've got to move. So the first couple of slides, and I want to try to get y'all out of here in about an hour. It might be a few minutes over because I want us to have time to practice some strategies. But talk just a little bit about home safety. You know, homes where the majority of falls happen. There are places specifically called, falls happen, places where there's wetness, kitchen, bathroom, stairs and steps, indoors and outdoors. So maybe you've lived in your home, maybe you moved there, I don't know, when say you might have been in your 50s or earlier, and you've made very few changes or modifications in your homes. Or most of us are retired and we moved up here, so hopefully you've got a home that's got all the different modifications you need to age safely in place. So the first thing is to take kind of an inventory of your home. Now, some of these things, you know, you probably have already done or know about, but I just am going to kind of touch the highlights, so you'll refresh you to, oh, I need to check that. Simple changes like your lighting, where you locate your furniture, where you put your cords, rugs versus not having rugs that have stuff under them so they don't slip, the gripper stuff. These are all things that you really need to take an evaluation of and figure out how you might modify your home to make it safer. Stairs and steps, we know that's where you get into a lot of trouble. Light switch at the top of the steps, at the bottom of the steps. Don't go down the steps with the lights off, and don't be carrying a bunch of stuff up and down the steps with the lights off. Or on, for that matter. And make sure that your dog is not trying to go up and down the steps with you. Motion, and really, how many, you know, most of the time we have to get up in the middle of the night, right? So having lighting on your pathway to the restroom, motion detector lights. We've got so much technology now that can, you know, when you move, it'll turn the light on. So as long as you're in bed, you're okay. But if you get up to, you know, go out, and you can get little lights, night lights that are motion sensitive. So that would help you have the light. Always keep a flashlight nearby your bed or wherever you are. The good news is we've got these awesome, well, I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but now we do have phones that have flashlights on it. So be sure you know how to operate turning your flashlight on. And if you've got your phone with you at most times, you've got a flashlight right at your disposal. Handrails on your stairways, non-slip treads on the stairs instead of bare wood. Carpet's okay, of course. And you might not think about this, but your carpet, and especially as you get older and different sensory systems change, if you've got carpet with a lot of pattern, a lot of designs, it can sort of play with your vestibular sensory system, and you know, you kind of lose your equilibrium. So think about what kind of carpet you have. And then, let's see, area rugs at the bottom and top of your steps, no. That's a big no-no. And objects on the steps, oh, I'm going to leave this here so I can take it upstairs or downstairs when I leave. And then you realize that you have to go upstairs real quick and can't take it, and then you trip over it. And be mindful. I guess that's the thing with stairs. I know for me personally, in my brain sometimes I still think I'm 35. And also, I've got a few things going on, and I'm going down the stairs, or I'm doing this, and my mind is somewhere else. In Dallas, before I retired, I fell going down the driveway. And I know it was happening. I was thinking about, oh, I got to get in the house. I got to go do that. I was not paying attention to what I was doing. So this is kind of your first challenge, your first piece of homework is when you move and when you go somewhere, be present and write what you're doing. Like when I go down the stairs, I say, I'm going down the stairs now, slow down. I'll say that to myself because I can very easily take off too quickly down the stairs. So I'm just mindful that I'm thinking of going down the stairs. I'm not thinking I'm going downstairs to get that piece of paper. I got to go send that email. I need to just think I am going down the stairs right now. I'm going up the stairs. I'm going out the front door. I have 2 steps before I get to the sidewalk. So it's a challenge for you to think of what you are doing and let those other things kind of not be there when you're moving. And it really does work. I know it sounds like it's simple. It's like, oh, I know I'm going downstairs. But think to yourself, I'm going down the stairs, or I'm going outside, and it might be icy because it's been cold, so I'm going to evaluate my situation. I'm going down the stairs. I know the door is shut, so the dog or the cat can't come down under my feet. So be mindful of what is around you and what you're doing in the moment. Don't be talking to somebody else or be on your cell phone while you're going down the stairs. I keep saying stairs because we're talking about stairs right now. Some of this makes sense because it's like, yeah, you're right. I should be thinking about that a little bit better. The bathroom is got lots of wetness. And how many people have ever fallen in the bathroom? It's just a very, and most of the time, if you have ceramic or tile floors, you might have some area rugs. If you do any rugs in the bathroom to get out of the shower or whatever, be sure that they've got good grip under them so that you don't slide out from under. Likewise, your bathtub, you need to have a gripper or a seat in your shower. If you have some dizziness, vertigo issues, or different things like that, and you might get dizzy in the shower, have you a chair. And of course, the grab bars. Let's see. And this was one I never thought of, but instead of, you're washing and say you drop the bath gel or your soap and leaning over and picking it up, it suggested have a liquid soap dispenser in the bathroom so that you just, hit it and get your soap that way. I never thought of that. I don't have one. Does anybody have one? Well, yeah. So, yeah, I had never thought of that. So that is a very good thing. Look around your bathtub. Make sure your shower curtains, if you've got any glass enclosures, maybe think about changing that. Stabilizing yourself, getting in the toilet, on the toilet, or raise the toilet, having a grab bar, or just doing some exercises to work on your quad strength, which we'll talk about as well. Any thoughts, anything anybody like to share about the bathroom? That sounded kind of, you want to share about the bathroom? Don't share too much. Okay. Bedroom. And clutter on the floor. Can't take your clothes off and drop them on the floor, or your socks, or even your shoes. Again, we talked about the flashlight and the lamp by your bed. As we get older, and we may like those wonderful big high princess beds, you may need to think about lowering your bed, or even getting a new bed if your bed's real high and it's hard to get in and out of. That is a big thing to consider if you have a high bed. Getting in and out, night lights along your route to the bathroom. Do not walk in stocking feet or socks. If you've got the little grippy slip-on, socks, I guess, that at least gives you that grip. But stocking feet or socks are the worst thing to get up and move around in. Also, sling back, I forgot to bring my sling back clogs, that kind of thing, any kind of, even night slippers that you slip into, those are easy to help you trip up and fall. I've got the shoe that I wear inside all the time. It's got it's just a Skechers closed back shoe. And clogs are easy to get into, but now I say that my mother wore them her whole life when she got older and didn't fall, but you can get tripped up on them. So just be aware what seems like the best shoe to put on, night shoe, when you get up at night. Electronic cords in any room, living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. Take an evaluation. Where are all your cords? Are they behind the furniture close to the wall? There's so many really cool gadgets now that you can wrap the cords in and have them out of the way. Don't arrange a lamp on a night table that you've got to walk, by it to get somewhere. Cords can be a really big trip hazard, but I'm thinking most of you all probably know that and are good on that. Any questions about your bedroom? And I'm going over this kind of quickly so we can get to some other stuff. Same sort of things with your living room, arranging your furniture so you have a good pathway, especially too if you don't see real well, you need to be sure that you've got things out of the pathway of where you're walking, or your general path that you walk in. It says remove low coffee tables, magazine racks, footrests, plants from pathways. Now that doesn't mean remove them from your living room. Yes, sir. Did you have a question?
Regarding furniture and walkways, is it possible to have that walkway too wide so that you can't grab onto something if you lose your balance?
Yeah, that is another side of it that could be. Yeah, if you do, at that point, if that's an issue, you might ought to be using a cane to assist you if you're afraid that you don't have enough dynamic balance to maybe be able to walk in that pathway. But that's something that is a consideration. Just don't have a footstool in front of the furniture pathway. And that's a good point, because I know at my house I'm thinking I've got smaller house, so I do have furniture where if I did, I could probably hit the wall, touch the wall or something. So that's a very good question. So you know your home, you know yourself, you know what might work best for you. So take all those things into consideration when deciding what you want to do and how you want to set your house up. Does anybody have any glow-in-the-dark night switches? Okay, glow-in-the-dark night switches are helpful. And loose rugs, I mean, really evaluate. If you have hardwood floors, you really don't need the loose rug. I know they look good and they make it feel more homey and comfortable, but unless you've got non-slip stuff and you're absolutely sure that the edges aren't going to curl up on it, you might really want to think about, putting those rugs somewhere else or not using them. Now in the kitchen, I know you stand by the sink, and I know there's those mats that give you cushion, and that's kind of different because most of those do have a good non-slide back to them. Yeah, a lot of this just common sense kind of think, okay, if I put my foot here, could I fall on this or could I trip over it? The electrical appliance cords, all of that again. Placing carpeting over concrete, ceramic, and marble floors to lessen the severity of injury. So if you do have a marble bathroom floor, in that respect, you probably need a good non-stick bathroom type rug so that you don't slide from the water on the marble. So, again, it's, maybe this, but then this. Repair loose floorboards, wobbly furniture, and also remember, in evaluating your furniture, do you have a sofa you've had forever and it's really low? Does it put your hip to knee ratio greater than 90 degrees? If it does, it's going to make it harder to get up. What I mean by that is, you want to have seating anywhere where you've pretty much got a 90-degree angle or greater. So if you're setting it somewhere and you got to go down here to get up, it's going to take an awful lot of extra effort and could cause you to, it could cause you to hurt something, but it also could help you lose your balance when you're trying to get up and make it harder to get up. Yes,
so
ma'am.
You're saying that you need to have a chair that is not too low.
Mm-hmm. Not too low, or a sofa that's not too low. George and I's sofas, my sofa was really, really low. So actually, George put extra blocks of wood under the legs, and we put some extra cushion on the seats to bring it, because I didn't want to get new furniture. I liked what I had, but it just was really low.
Bricks are good for that too.
Bricks?
Bricks.
Yep. We use blocks of wood, but something to bring your yeah. Any more questions, thoughts, comments? Kind of going through the.
I'll wash your bricks for you.
You wash the bricks, but then I would take and put glue felt to the bottom of the bricks.
Slide like crazy.
Yeah.
You can use that sort of mesh stuff under.
Yeah, and I tell you, the best stuff in the world for putting under, if you don't want to go buy special non-skid, is the shelf liners that you get at Dollar General or Walmart. You know, they're grippy, and you can put them under your rugs. You can put them under something for extra grip. I learned that when I was first years ago. Was decorating cakes. And if I take a cake somewhere in the car, they say, go to Dollar General and buy the grippy stuff and set the cake on it so it doesn't move around in the car. And I was like, well, that should work under rugs and everything else. I don't have to go buy an expensive, one specially made for rugs. So kitchen, remove throw rugs, but that doesn't include the cushion things that you may need to stand on by your sink or by your oven. Immediately clean up any spills, liquid grease, food on the floor, because things get sticky, things get slick, and you get into all kinds of trouble. And I'll have to tell on you, George, I'm sorry, but in your kitchen and in your closet, anywhere, if you have stuff way up high, first of all, if it's way up high and it's been way up high for a year or so and you haven't touched it, guess what? You don't need it. But if there is some things way up high and you do find that you're needing to get a husband or you need those little gripper things to get it down, then maybe it's or you want to get up on stuff to get it down, maybe it's time to bring that stuff down eye level or lower. So you may need to rethink where you have things stored in the kitchen and how you have them stored so you can get to the things you need. And again, if you haven't used them, in any room and it's way up high, it probably means you don't need it, so you can get rid of it and give you some more space for storage. But you want to keep things in an area that you can safely get to. So if you do need to get something out of the cabinets, don't just go get a chair and stand on it and say, okay, I'm going to get it this way, and I'm standing here like this. Or you don't want to stand on a box, or, that's kind of obvious that we wouldn't do that. Step stool with the handrail, if you have to do it, that's how you need to get up to get something.
Years ago, when I was in my 40s, we did a lot of painting, and you can get them that are like 3 steps, good, nice size steps, with rails and a little platform to put your paint on. But guess what? It'll hold other things too. And it's great. It folds up about this thick.
So if you got to put something up there, you just put it up there on that first,
Go down
and then go down and come back up. So the other thing, and we're going to talk about it more when we talk about moving, but do remind me to talk to you about how to move from the sink to the dishwasher to the refrigerator to the stove. So let me forget. That would be in the movement section. All right, my favorite is pets. And I say that because in the last 3 years, the only time I have fallen was due to my wonderful dog. And that is because, number one, he's black, and I was in the basement doing what I told you not to do. Lights were off. I had left, and I was heading up the stairs, and I thought he had gone upstairs with George, and he's black, and he's laying in the middle of the floor, and I go walking. Next thing I know, my glasses have flown off my face, and I landed right on my cheek on his butt. So I didn't see him. I thought he wasn't there. So from that moment on, we have a night light that stays on in the hallway in the basement all the time. Dogs and cats are wonderful companions, and they're the best things in the world. But they can be hazards. Little bitty dogs that are excitable and running all around your feet. Cats that you can't hear, and they just slowly, sneak up on you. So we need to think of our situation, our pets, and how we can make those pets not be a hazard to falling. One of the techniques, they said, put a bell around their neck. Now, if you're like me, you probably don't like to, hear bells going off everywhere. However, if you are very concerned about falling, and that is a trip hazard, it is worth putting some kind of little bell. Actually, some dogs, you just have their dog tags on it. When they move, you can hear the dog tags. But do think about that. There is also glow-in-the-dark collars. You know, that if you do get up in the middle of the night and you know he likes to lay by the bed or jump down, you can have a collar that glows in the dark, so at least you can see him or her. You also can practice just some basic training techniques of having your dog walk beside you in the house. You'd have to, for a while, take a leash and walk around the house and treat him, say stay or whatever, give him a treat, do basic dog training that might help him understand that he needs to walk beside you. I know you can't really do that with cats, but, otherwise, just be ever mindful when you wake up and go to the bathroom, look down, where are the dogs? Or where is the cat? And make sure you know where they are at all times. And that is, my biggest challenge is making sure I know where mine are. They can also pull you when you're out, and I was at the college. I was walking Charlie, who is a greyhound, and there was a woman that had her dog in a field running free, and he came over to the fence to see Charlie, and Charlie went to him. They were smelling, and and the next thing I know, that dog on the other side of the fence took off, and Charlie took off, and I ended up on my butt. So I wasn't hurt, but I lay there for a second. I was like, okay, am I hurt? And then, but first thing I'm like, no, Charlie, come back. I was more concerned about the dog than me, but let the dog go, make sure you're okay. And likewise, don't wrap the leash around appendages of your hand. Another friend, literally, her thumb was almost unattached to her hand because she had wrapped the leash around her thumb, and then the dog saw a squirrel and took off and just about lost her thumb. So just being mindful, walking pets, having pets in the house. Any other suggestion, thoughts, or comments of anybody that's had pet challenges? Yes.
Be careful of dog toys.
Of what?
Dog toys. Yeah. I've nearly fallen several times by stepping on it.
Or cat
Yes.
toys.
Or cat toys, yeah. And even slobber that might get on and make your floor wet. But yeah, all of those things. They're another. And the thing is, you can't go and say, pick up your toys. Weather. Well, this has kind of been on our minds lately, right? Icy porches, sidewalks, rain. So this is a time, we know that weathermen most of the time are wrong. However, when they are anticipating something's coming, you then have plenty of time to kind of maybe prepare, put a little sand on your sidewalk if you do have to take an animal out. You know the path you're going to go, make sure that, you've got sand on it, or you've got a rug on it or something so that you could even take it up before you step down. But icy conditions are a big fall hazard. Being aware of wet surfaces during the rain, and also wet rocks. You wouldn't, we live by the lake. Some of y'all probably like to go to the lake or do activities in the lake. Just be aware of the wet rocks that are on the edge of the lake. When you are near beaches, lakes, water of any kind, I really love the water shoes that you can have. They do have little gripper surfaces on it, even for the sand, and that's much better than flip-flops, because flip-flops they slide. They're slick, and they also your foot can come out of them. So those are some of those. Now, we talked a bit about the stats, so we won't go over that. And now we're getting into a little bit of physiology and what's happening in your body. So there are 5 types of aging. Chronological aging, which is the age that we are, which happens naturally as we grow older. functional aging, and that is your ability to do your activity of daily living. That's ADLs, you'll hear me say. Activity of daily living is what you need to do to maintain the status of life that you're at right now, and not to have any further declines. So functional, I call most of the exercise classes I teach, that they're functional fitness classes, because we're trying to mimic and or improve upon things as we age, that changes in our bodies biologically, to try to keep us going at the lifestyle that we are accustomed to at that point in time. Which brings biological aging, and that's your physical functioning. Maybe you have a health issue, maybe you have, arthritis, or you have a neurological condition. There could be any number of things, and that is your biological aging, and you need to figure out how we're going to maintain our lives within the cards that we're dealt that we have to deal with right now. The physiological aging, and that is the, too fast. That is your cognitive performance, your ability to remember things, and to distinguish between different things. It's basically the brain. And then your social aging, acceptance and self-efficacy. And there are times when I have struggled with realizing that I am a little bit older than I used to be. So I still want to think and act like I'm younger because I feel pretty good. But I know that my body has changed, and there are things that I have to accept, that I have to slow down a little bit with some things, and I have to be more aware of, like I said, going downstairs, or when I'm walking on uneven surfaces, and being smart about it, knowing that, okay, I do need to be careful. And then realizing that it's okay. We're gonna age. That's a good thing. Aging is a good thing. It means that we didn't not age by passing early. Aging is good. However, it's a challenge, and especially when we're the types of individuals who want to keep going, we want to maintain our lifestyles, and we want to live life to the fullest, as we all should. So, social aging, and I also know through the years we've just come out of with COVID, social aging has really been a factor as far as contributing to depression, anxiety, and being isolated from family and friends. So we're kind of coming out of that, but those are all still factors that contribute to aging. Whoops. Tina, that's the one you want right there. Okay, so some age-related physical declines. After the age of 62, there's a marked decrease in your walking speed, poor mental and physical health, and a loss of independence and a higher mortality risk. Now, I don't know why they use 62, but I was told many years ago when I wasn't a senior that 62, was kind of the age years ago, more so than now. People were retiring at 62. And when people retire, there is a physiological change, and there's a lot of changes in your lifestyle. So people have a greater risk, and I don't think it's really big, of dying in the first year that they retire. And I could think of, why would that be? But if you've had a job where you've been very active, moving, going, you've lost, maybe at retirement, some people lose their sense of purpose, their sense of self-worth, and are more sedentary. They're not doing things. So all of those things will exacerbate the decline in health. Does that make sense? Am I saying things that make sense? Of course, none of that applies to y'all, because y'all all active, energetic, go-getters. But these things do happen. And beyond the age of 50, there's a tendency for older individuals to lose muscle mass. Sarcopenia is what it's called. And it's especially pronounced in women, because we also go through menopause and our hormonal changes change. And we also don't have as much testosterone to support the muscle mass loss. So the muscle mass loss starting at about age 50, you lose 10% of your muscle mass every decade. That's about 1% a year, which just means with aging over a decade, you're losing muscle mass. So what's the best way to counter that? You've got to be active, and you've got to work on things that strengthen your muscle mass. And that doesn't mean going into the gym and pumping 200 pounds. It just means there's things we can do to keep our bodies where they are now and improve. And a very selective loss of fast twitch motor units has been observed, and this loss adversely affects your ability to execute movements quickly. So this is going to be kind of a current theme and some things that we're going. My morning stretch class knows I talk about doing things for fast twitch muscle memory. So you have these little minute little mitochondria and things that are in your cells and in your muscles. There's some fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fibers. The fast twitch are the ones that help you react quickly to something. Sends a signal from your brain to your arm, hey, she's going to throw something at me, I got to react quick. All right, and good job. And if you don't nurture those, the whole saying about a lot of things, you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't nurture those fast twitch muscle fibers, then they begin to just kind of go dormant, and you know they increase your reaction time. Yes, aging increases reaction time, but so does lack of using those fast twitch muscle memory. So in any good program should have options for fast twitch muscle memory. It's real interesting. I've worked many years in some memory centers and Alzheimer's groups, and you could set them in a circle around, and they may not be able to know what you're saying or understand. But if you throw something at them, they're going to react, because that's a long-term memory, and it's also just your brain reacting. Oh, something's coming at me. I've got to react. Likewise, if you're walking and a cat jumps out in front of you, your fast twitch memory has got to come in and either, you got to move out of the way. You got to be able to do it physically. You got to be able to get the brain to the muscle and say, oh, there's something there. I've got to avoid it, or I've got to, move out of the way. And so that's why we need to work on some quick, I know Gus and I were talking about, boxing, and we did some boxing this morning in class where we just go slow, fast. And you do have to move fast sometimes. You can walk and then go 1, 2, 3, walk faster. It doesn't mean you need to run, but you need to practice some slow things and some fast things to keep the systems all working really good, and to keep the brain knowing what it's supposed to do when these situations occur. Because if you don't practice them and the brain doesn't know what to tell your body to do, that is also a way you can get in trouble when you're moving around and lose your balance. So this is a little bit of physiology, but you have multiple systems in your body that do contribute to balance and to your mobility. The sensory system, that is anticipating change that affect the current and future actions and how to respond to those changes. Sensory, too, is hands, feet. If you're walking and all of a sudden you hit cobblestone, walkway or a brick walkway, it's going to feel different on your feet, and your senses are going to tell you why maybe I need to go a little bit slower, or I'm aware that this is about to happen, and I'm anticipating it's happening. You're getting ready to go, down some steps, or you're getting ready to go over any kind of little change of what am I calling? I'm trying to
Surface.
Things between what?
Surface.
Just surfaces, yeah. And I was thinking things
Elevation.
between doors or whatever, and the elevations up and down. So it's your sensors tell you, oh, hey, something's about to happen. I've got to react to it. Your motor system is the action upon that information that you get from the sensory, meaning your motor is your legs, I'm going up a hill, so my sensory tells me, oh, there's a hill there, I'm getting ready to go up it, so my legs are gonna have to lift a little higher to get up the hill, or a little bit higher to go up the steps. So your motor skills come into play to actually interpret what your sensory system's telling you. The somatosensory system provides that information about where you are in space and the movement of your body relative to the support. So let's say you're going up on, you see a curb or a sidewalk, and you've got one foot up on it and the other one's still low, and then you bring that foot up, or you know you got to step down. This system provides that information so you know where you are in any given space or location. Your vestibular system is basically a lot about your eyes, your ability to know where you are, that you're moving or you're not moving, and also that's where your issues like with vertigo or dizziness or something comes in, maybe from a medication you're taking or you have vertigo. This is a system that has to determine, hey, what's going on here? How do I need to adjust my body? Have you ever been at a stoplight in your car and it's raining and you're sitting there and you look out the side window and the rain's running down the road, and for a brief second you think the car is moving instead of the rain moving? And so this is where the vestibular thing comes in. It's like, okay, am I moving or is that moving? And so it takes you a little bit to figure out, oh, because I've even like slammed the brake back. Have I got the brake on? It feels like I'm moving, but I'm not. So that's the system that comes into play in understanding where we are. All right. Let me see what here, because I'm going to get into the good stuff here in a minute. Age-related, yeah. This is kind of what I've just said. And between the age of 50 and 70, muscle strength declines as much as 30%. So that's what we talked about too. All right. Resistance training and functional fitness. So we can develop a combination of using strength, power, and endurance as a really good strategy to help with these declines that are happening normally through aging. And that is your muscular strength, your cardiovascular fitness, your neuromuscular function, and the functional capacity. So we're basically, when you do fitness or you do classes and you practice exercise, you're basically practicing the functions that you need to help you in your activity of daily living, to help you keep from falling, to help you have better balance, just to help you be stronger. So you can remain independent, stay out of a nursing home, or need assistance in any way. So resisted training, and your brain immediately goes to a gym, workout, all that. There are so many things you can do at home. You don't ever have to go to a gym, but those are options. The terminology that we're talking about, balance is a process of controlling your body's center of mass, which is in us, our center of mass, our strongest and most amount of weight, doesn't matter whether you have big hips or not, it's just this is what it is about 2 inches below your belly button. And your base of support is basically your legs, your stance, what you're doing with your feet, and whether that body is moving or stationary. Life is all about going off balance and regaining your balance. Every step is losing balance, regaining your balance. That's what everything is. Being off and moving. Unless you're like those people in the bubble wrap and sit in your chair, you're going to constantly be going off balance and back on. Posture is what we call the biomechanical way that your body is designed to stand or be. In a minute, I'm going to have you stand up and we're going to talk about alignment, but let me just go through this. Anticipatory postural control is actions that you're planned in advance. I know that I'm going to sit down in this chair, so I'm going to do what I need to plan to sit down in the chair safely and get back up. And anticipating that I'm going to have to reach for something, so my posture is going to be different, and that's going to go into reactive, which is actions that you can't plan, that you didn't know was going to happen. If you're standing here and somebody bumps into you, you didn't know that was gonna happen. So you have to react posturally, and you need to know maybe a good way to do that. Stability limit is the maximum distance an individual's able or willing to lean in any direction. So we're gonna talk about some strategies in a minute, and you're gonna stand up and work on that. Stability limit means that, well, I'm gonna tell you in a minute. I'm just going over this. Sway envelope we're gonna talk about. And mobility is your ability to move independent and safely from one place to another. All right. So, how about we stand up? If everybody will stand up. And if you want to just spread yourself so that maybe you're behind or beside of your chair, because in working on some of these strategies, you begin supported, and you then gradually, as you get stronger, you can go to unsupported. But these are strategies, two ways. There are things to help you evaluate where you are now and what you can do to help practice to get stronger. And also, along with that are some exercises that we can add to it. So when you're working on postural control, first of all, we talked about neutral posture. If you will just stand equally on both feet, and as you're standing there, you're right over the arches between the balls and the heels. You're right over the arch of the feet. Just soften your knees a little bit. I don't mean go down in any, but just soften the joints. Locking your knee joint, if the knee's soft and then I lock it, I lock it, it pushes my pelvis out, which goes into my back. So you want the knees soft. And you want to think of your spine like a plumb line with a weight at the end. So think of your tailbone just relaxing heavy into the earth. Just a gentle, not a rock, but just a gentle, I guess it is a rock, yeah. And then as far as abs go, just give yourself a hug. Just take your abs and kind of hug yourself. Then while we're working our way up, we think of the shoulders over the hips. So I want to have my shoulders over my hips, meaning you don't want to be standing one leg leaning or the other side leaning. So you want to try to have shoulders over your hips, and then look straight ahead with your chin level. Energy out the top of your head. If you were like one of those skeletons you see at the chiropractor or the doctor's office, and they're hanging, and their bones are just hanging normally, that's actually neutral position. But you want to have that feeling of being lifted and yet grounded into the earth. So the chin, and again, as we get older and we've been reading books, and then we get our phone, and then whatever we're doing, the neck begins to go forward more. So be aware that when you are looking ahead, that your ears are kind of over your shoulders, not ahead of your shoulders like a turtle, but you want those ears just a nice neutral position. If you had everything balanced in your body and you're in this position, you should be able to stand here for a while. So this is neutral posture. Feet, again, are hip distance apart, and everything's just copacetic in your body, right? Okay, so from this position, there's something called ankle strategy. So we have mobility joints and we have stability joints. An ankle is a mobility joint. Okay, so in this position now, I would like for you to just move around in a circle, just around your feet, like go to the right, go forward, go left, and go back. We were also talking about sway envelope in the other slide. So this is your sway envelope. This is how far, now it's not the hips, it's nothing but the ankles. This is all happening because you're putting movement in the ankles. So this is your sway envelope. This is how far, and go the other way. It's how far you can sway without losing your balance. So this is something that you can just practice. Just practice swaying. Put a little music on, do a little, but just you can sway side to side. and you can sway front to back. When you go forward, you feel the weight going toward the balls of the feet. You go back, it goes toward the heels. So this is your sway. This is your envelope of what works for you. So that's a mobility joint. Your knees are stability joints. They're only made to be going front and back and to keep you stable. So you have the mobility in your ankles, the knees are your stability, and your quads are what helps support that stability, so you need to have good, strong quad muscles. Then we go to the hips, and that's a mobility joint. So now in your sway envelope, you're going to add to your ankles the hips. So now you can move the hips out. And see how it's a little bit bigger sway envelope? So go the other direction. So now moving the hips, you can sway a little bit bigger. Okay? So we're just going to stay here in the lower part since that's what we're mainly talking about. Now, I want you to put your feet together, your insoles together. And now try your sway. Your sway is not going very far, right? Even if you add your hips, it's not going very far. This is why it's important not to stand like this, because you don't have, so if I walked over to Linda with her feet here together and I pushed her, she would probably lose her balance. So now I'd like for you to open your stance a little wider than you normally stand, okay? And just soften your knees a little bit. Now I want you to sway in the ankles. Look at that. See how a wider base of support you have, and more stability as well. Now add your hips, and you can really go a lot of places. Right? So if you step, we got the ankle strategy, the hip strategy. Now the step strategy. And that's where, once your center of mass can't sway anymore, it's displaced beyond that, you've got to step the foot out to catch you. Okay, so go with your feet right back under you. Go forward as far as you can until you feel like you need to put that foot out there. Pick that foot out there and put it out there. Don't let anybody fall down. You got the chair there. That's why we got the chairs.
I can't do this. I'm recovering.
So pretend you're going to sway and then just stick that foot there. That's called a step strategy. That's good to practice so that the brain says, oh, wait a minute, we're going beyond the sway. I got to do something. Okay, I'll tell her to put the foot out. It's like a lunge, right? To the side, same thing, sway to the side. You got to put that foot out when you get beyond your sway envelope, okay? Very important one you need to practice, because when you fall, how many people fall backwards or have fallen backwards? And that causes the most injuries usually when you fall backwards. So sway back and put that foot back there. Practicing this strategy of just putting that foot back when you lose that balance. Now that can become an exercise that you can do at home, chair supported, till you get stronger. And that is some simple, doesn't have to be a deep lunge, but it's just a transfer of balance. And it will help strengthen your legs. So if you feel comfortable holding on to something, just try. Doesn't have to be fast like I'm doing it now. It can be slow. It doesn't have to be deep. But that begins to train your brain to remember, I know what to do when we do this. Same way with a side. You can step side and together and side. And most importantly is step back. Because you don't walk around every day stepping back. And we try to incorporate a step back in just about any program that we do, because you got to keep these muscles strong and able to do that. Okay, y'all can sit back down if you like. I'm almost close. We'll probably have to stand up one more time, but so this is the fundamental as an instructor. These are the fundamental things I try to do to help people maintain good balance and posture, and that is we strengthen we stretch the overused muscles, and we're going to strengthen the underused muscles, also sometimes called the anti-gravity muscles. So reality is we've gotten older, we used to be much taller and blah, blah, blah. And as gravity pulls on our bodies, they do tend to roll forward a little bit. This is real exaggerated, but your hip flexors tighten, right? Your chest is tighter, your back gets more rounded, your chin, head comes forward. So if I just do exercises like this all the time, I'm not gonna do anything but make these things tighter, right? So what a good functional fitness class will have in it is plenty of exercises that will strengthen the anti-gravity muscles and stretch out the overuse muscles. By that I mean we do things that open the chest. That is an anti-gravity exercise. Stretching the chest at the same time using weights or bands to strengthen, you know, the upper back, which keeps his chest open, which having an open chest can benefit, what do you think it can help with? Breathing, and the heart having plenty of room to beat, and your digestive organs having plenty of room to digest all the food properly. There's a lot of good reasons to keep that chest open and stretched out, but breath is the most important thing. Breath is the essence of being alive, a good breath. The neck muscles, you know, we're like this all the time. Everybody just sit in your chair with both feet on the, you know, just kind of set up nicely. And imagine you're pushing your chin back into your neck, like make a double chin, it's all good. Chin level. And what do you feel? Do you feel some tightening here in these muscles at the chin's level? This is a great one for if you have been reading or you have been on your phone, is we need to keep these muscles, we need to stretch these, most importantly, we need to strengthen these so as the old saying, your head stays on your shoulders. But you do want to do, you can put your hands here and push against your hands. You can go against a wall and just, you know, practice pushing your head back. And you'll feel all these muscles because they're weak. And this is something you could do every single day and improve on. The other thing is your hip flexors and your glutes. Hip flexors, you're using them right now. They're contracted right now. They're contracted when you drive home. They're contracted when you eat, when you're watching television. So all your life, and when you're driving in the car. So it's most important that we do things that stretch these hip flexors out. Rocking the pelvis forward, putting the leg back, and just, you know, pushing that. If you watch cats and dogs, when they've been laying, they get up, and most of them do that thing with their legs stretched out, you know. What are they doing naturally? Their body's telling them we've got to stretch these out. If you've been seated for a while and or you've been driving in a car, what do? You get out and you feel like you want to do that, right? Because that's your body telling you to stretch these. To keep your pelvis balanced, which is going to help your back, which is definitely going to help your base of support and your center of mass, and that'll help your fall prevention and your balance. So good things to do to strengthen your glutes, which are the opposite muscle group of your hip flexors. You know, leg lifts, little bitty squeeze. It doesn't have to be high, but just little things that strengthen your backside. Yes, inner and outer thighs are important too, but if I can press upon anything, if you've ever been to the doctor and he says, well, your pelvis is tilted, or you know, you're really tight in your hip flexors, then we need to do things. And likewise, that'll strengthen your lower back too. Ab exercises are important in conjunction with the back and the hip flexors and the glutes. Hamstrings the same way. We do need to keep these guys strong. There's probably not enough exercise. You could probably not exercise enough at this age to do things to help strengthen your quads. But likewise, the back of the legs are supporting that. So any kind of hamstring, you know, kind of little curl back there that can help strengthen the back of your leg, gives you balance. It's all about balance of your body, front to back, as well as helping you maintain your balance. Calves, you know, good old little calf heel stretches, things to help. Any questions about anti-gravity, hip flexor stretching? Does that all make sense? Okay.
Tina,
Yes.
a lot of times when I've fallen, I'm like dragging my feet, my toe. Is there any exercise I can do to keep from dragging my feet? Like shuffling with your toe down?
Gus, do you do some, these to strengthen your calf and your, shin? This is a good exercise to just help you strengthen so that your range of motion when you lift your foot up would be stronger, as well as if you're, and I know you're shuffling. The other thing is maybe like even sitting in your chair doing knee lifts, things that'll give your whole body more strength so that as you are walking, if you can be mindful of really picking the leg up, that might be helpful.
Okay,
Did y'all go over anything like that in PT or anything?
just calf stretches.
Okay. But these are good. These are always good for your lower leg.
All right,
Just
thanks.
pointing and flexing. And then, Gus, and I can give you one, doing any of those with a band.
Yeah, man.
You got the band? Yeah, any of those kinds of things, and using the band to point and flex, and to this. This is a good one, like hold it here and then push against it. That strengthens your quads. So that's another good one too. Bands are great, because you're putting your own body's weight against, strengthening, with it.
Thank you.
I don't have but a few more minutes. I know I didn't get you out too, sorry. Ways to improve, we went over neutral posture, we went over stability transfer. Okay, so let's talk a minute about visual. One thing that you tend to think is I don't walk very well, or I don't have good balance, so I'm gonna look down to make sure that I can see where I'm going. And that actually isn't good. You need to look out to see where you're going. When you're in a car and you're driving through traffic, do you just look down at the front of your car? No, you look out and see what's ahead of you. I know I've got this and this. So if you evaluate your situation, you know there's just a straight floor ahead of me, there's nothing in the way, then when I walk, I need to look out to see where I'm going. That'll help me with my balance. Likewise, we talked about dynamic and static balance exercises, anti-gravity, over and under, train and practice fast twitch, and move efficiently and effectively. So there's 4 things I really want to go over with you too. When you walk, resist the temptation to walk like this. Like I'm gonna get there. We talked about center of mass, base of support, it's all low. So you need to walk first with that base of support. What I mentioned earlier, the Alexander technique is a way of movement that focuses on the energy starting here. Tai Chi, we have the energy starting from the hips. So when we walk, it really should be our hips walking for us first. There where we walk from. So there where you have the most strength. So walk from your lower body, not your upper body. If you've been to the grocery store and you got your little cart, you gotta get around the store real quick and you're like this, or you get really tired and you walk around with your buggy like this. Yeah. Here's some giggles, so I guess somebody's done that before. Practice staying close to your buggy and pushing your body like that. You got the power of your thighs and you're getting a little exercise, and it's much, much safer. And healthier, let's just say.
Hey, you coming?
Huh? I know, I got a noisy chair. Likewise, if you are needing to lift something, we all know, you're supposed to lift with your thighs. If you're close to a window and you have to lift a window or anything really close to you, get close to it and use the power of your thighs and your glutes to help you lift something up. So I said I wanted to tell you about the kitchen. So we get we get to, washing dishes, oh, you gotta put them in the dishwasher, so your tendencies wanna reach down, put it in the dishwasher, or you gotta open the fridge, turn open the fridge, or pull something out of the stove. If they're all there kinda close together, purposeful moving for functional activity daily living would be, I got this out of the sink, I'm gonna turn to the dishwasher, I'm gonna open it, put that in, and then I'm gonna pick my foot up and go back to the kitchen. Oh, I gotta go into the refrigerator. So you pick your feet up, get in the, do you see what I'm saying? Move. Because if not, next thing you know, oh man, I pulled something in my back. Or a muscle was cold and you just over twisted. Make yourself move to get where you need to go instead of try to do it all with simple alarms. Another strategy when we were talking about practicing your sway and different things is practicing how far you can reach forward to grab something and back. And then you would know, all right, I can go this far and then I got to put my foot out there. Those are all ways to tell you how much sway, how much movement you can do. Another good exercise to practice for your balance, and it said 6 inches, but this is only, I think this is 3 inches, is to step up on something and then step off of it. If anybody's ever had a knee replacement, this is like one of your PT exercises, is to step up on something, and I'm doing different foot, but you can do the same foot, but practice stepping up and down without doing what I was just doing, without really looking. Once you know that that's there, then you can look and then step off of it. The other thing that's kind of fun, you can use a pillow. This is a good balance exercise. This is my yoga block, but you can stand on a piece of foam with one leg. Well, first of all, you could practice it with both feet, like a pillow, feet together, and see how long you can balance. Then go and just do it with one leg. And practicing standing on one leg is very good, but start progressive with supported, and then go to unsupported. See? I'm not even the best at that. I have one leg better than the other. We all do. But, so these are all simple strategies you can try at home to work on your balance, to work on improving it. And if you really are serious about improvement, then, you can look into a class. Tai Chi is really wonderful. Any number of classes that focus on opening and stretching the overused muscles and strengthening the anti-gravity muscles. Let me make sure that I've got everything I wanted to tell y'all before I let you go. Okay, stand back up one last time, which we've done kind of these. I just told you about 2 of them. I want to show you, these are, they call it the Fullerton University's balance scale. It'll help you evaluate your balance, it'll help you improve your balance. So they're very simple things that you can do that are not that simple if you can't do them. But staying with feet together, and you got your chair there, so now you got your assistant. And just stand and close your eyes for a few seconds. And after you go assisted, if you want to go unassisted, it'll just help kind of tell you, do you feel yourself swaying a bit? Yeah, you no longer have the vestibular system working. Your eye, you have no sight. So you have to rely on the sway, your ankle strategy, your hip strategy to keep you from falling over. Okay, it kind of shows you how the different systems work together. Just mentioned you can practice reaching forward for something and see how far you can reach, and that'll actually help you work on increasing your sway envelope. Turn in a circle to the right and left. So you need to make sure your chair's there, but just walk and turn. I was gonna have you walk, but then also just turn in place. So do that. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Just turn. Now you gotta do it slowly, because if you're not doing it a lot, you might get a bit dizzy. And that's a really good, because when you spin as a kid, you spin and see how dizzy you can get.
Yeah.
But it's still something you need to be able to have some improvement on. I just did stepping open over a 6-inch bench. Like I said, that's 3 inches, but that's 6 inches. So that's a little bit taller. So that would be about what you would want to practice stepping over. Standing on the one leg, y'all just practice. Lift whichever leg you feel most comfortable, supported. And then just try, releasing and putting your hand back. But weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Remember those toys? And try the other leg. And just you don't need a special class or anything. You just need to practice it. Stand on the foam, which I did a minute ago, but you do that with a pillow or anything soft that gives you a little bit of instability, and with your eyes closed. Jump with both feet for distance. Now, that's just if you're comfortable, if your knees or hips allow you. It's just trying to jump, how far you think you can jump for distance. 2 things happen with that. That's a fast twitch thing. It's also a osteoporosis / bone density thing. It can help improve that because with bone density, the bone repairs itself when it has these hard contact. That's why they tell you walk fast and do different things to help bone. If you're not comfortable, then don't jump. But it's one that's included in there. So this isn't interesting. Just walk, while you turn your head. Sounds pretty easy enough, but you might find it's a little more challenging. The other one is tandem walking, and it's not on there, but tandem walking is really, really interesting. All right, so you put one foot in front of the other. It's like you're on a balance beam, or you get stopped by the police on late at night. And he said, "Oh, I would just see you tandem walk." But it's a good thing to practice, because why do they do that when they stop you to test you for drunk driving? It's because it's hard to do in a normal situation. So tandem walking backwards. You notice my knees got bent more, right? When I went back, I lowered my center of gravity, or my base of support, so I would have a better chance at walking backwards. Walking backwards is very, very helpful and very important to maybe practice, even if you just take a couple of steps back, walk forward, and practice with just a couple of steps back. That's so good for your brain and your muscle memory in your leg, because let's say you lose your balance and the brain's like, "Oh, I bet she puts that leg back there, stop." And that's the restore balance after backward disturbance. That's what I was just saying. You go back and you've got to restore the balance. Have a seat for just a second. Is that helpful?
Yes.
In some of the things that you think? It is about awareness and maybe strength, power, reaction. All those things can help with your balance and hopefully keep you out of this situation of falling. And they're going to be, you're going to be a situation occur. You may get dizzy and pass out. Those are things you can't control, or medication. And just know, and lots of times when people say, "Oh, she fell and broke her hip," or "He fell and broke her hip," most often they've broke their hip and they fail. Especially with osteoporosis and different things. So lots of times joints break and you fall if you have those health conditions. So just also be aware of your health conditions, discuss it with your doctor as to, if these strategies should be something that you practice and work on. But I guess the biggest thing is awareness. Shoes, socks, where you are, being present when you are doing something and not having a million things on your mind and thinking, 10 steps ahead, unless you see an issue 10 steps ahead and you anticipate it and prepare for it. Anything else that anybody can think? Hey, PJ. Water. Hydration is important for life, period. 2 things you need to do every single day. You need to drink lots of water to hydrate your body, because you're 90% water, and you need to breathe. And I know that sounds so fundamental, but breath, and completely emptying your lungs and breathing and giving yourself a chance to take a minute out to breathe. I know in church we talk about quiet time, you know, to meditate or to be with God, but also that is needed for your health. A breath, a cleansing one that just fills your lungs up, and exhale, because if you don't have breath and you don't have water and you don't have movement, you're dead. That's basically it. Other basic things though, getting up and out of a chair and just working on strengthening these quads. The number one thing that happens when you're evaluated whether you need to go into a nursing home or not is whether you can transfer yourself from your bed to your toilet to your bed, or any transfer. And the way you transfer is having the quad strength and or the arms to assist you. You need to keep those quads strong, and even if you got bad knees, you need a cane, you need a walker, you need a table to pull up or the side of the chair. You got to keep practicing, you know, standing up and setting down and doing it in a way that you have the best ability. And that is, I promise this is the last thing, is you want to keep that. Remember we talked about the 90 degree in the hip? Well, also the 90 degree or greater in the leg is important, so to not compromise your knee. If you have bad knees, your knees are joints and they're stability joints, but they can wear with age and arthritis. So you want to not have them be the reason why you can't get up. So if I have my legs at 90 degrees, from my knee to my ankle is going to act like a rod or a cane, and I lean forward, and I've got to have the quad strength, or either use, you know, support to bring myself up with my quads, and then be able, first of all, look and make sure the chair's behind you, and then sit down. And you got armwood chairs will help, but honestly, this is the most important thing you're going to learn and need to keep strong, is your ability to, you know, however you have to do it to work within your parameters of your physical health. That's pretty important. Any questions? Yes,
Just that you mentioned a regular exercise group of some kind that you lead. How do we get into that?
I got your email now, so I will send you some information. But yeah, it's Tuesdays at 10, and we normally do it at Mayor's Park. I'm getting ready to add a couple of classes in February. I'm not ready to tell you what yet, and when, because I got this week to figure that out. But then I'll let y'all know what we're adding. Those might probably be here at the church. The stretch classes at the Mayor's Park when the weather's good, or at Young Harris College Dance Studio when the weather's bad. So, and we have one, I'm doing February, a Friday. Let's see, the 14th is on Tuesday, so 14th, 15th, the 17th February, I think, is the date. We're going to talk a bit about if you are able and would like to. It's called Ups and Downs. We're going to talk a little bit about getting down on the floor, when you should, when you shouldn't, what happens if you would fall, or even if you just need to get down, something rolled under the sofa, how would you do it by yourself? And then how would you get back up? So it's a little bit, you know, there may not be for everybody, because, you know, some folks maybe don't need to get down, just under their couch and just going to stay there until a child or grandchild come and visit. However, we're going to talk about strategies to help you get up and down if that's something you wish to do. There is a few handouts if y'all want to take those, and as soon as a copier gets up, like I said, I'll have some, we'll leave here at church, and I'll email you the PowerPoint so you can see those. Okay?
Thank
Well,
you.
I did an hour and 19 minutes again.